guys, welcome back to UnCut, where we get together, get comfortable, get real. On our couch today, we have two special guests, but we are minus one UnCut crew. Priscilla could not be here today, but she will be back in future episodes. So, gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
You start first.
Wow. He passed it on.
What a gentleman.
I don't know how much introduction you want, but I'm Kadeem.
He's Kadeem.
Kadeem, what do you do? What's interesting about you? What's a fun fact? What do we need to know about you?
So I'm a photographer.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So yeah, I've got that. I recently started a podcast called Quantum.
Yes, check it out, guys.
Check it out.
Yeah, so check that out. We're talking about like biblical issues and theological issues and ecclesiastical issues. So check that out if you can. Also, I'm married and I got a kid.
Yes, he's a father and a hubby.
Yes.
All right.
Loving that.
All right. My name is DeAngilo Valentine.
Yes,
I'm a person that I can't put a title to everything that I do.
Yeah.
But one of them is I am the host of a YouTube channel called After Dark. It's spelled AFTRDRK. It stands for Applications, Fundamental Theories, Repetition Determines Results in Knowledge. So, yeah.
No.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what it
After
means.
Dark.
So it's a channel to help men to be the best version of themselves. Part of it is talking about like dressing, mental health, physical health, all these different things. And
Beard tips.
Beard tips, yes, the most important. You can't forget beard tips.
Yeah.
And something that's interesting about me, I love to wear all black.
Yes.
Every day.
All the time. We're praying
All
for when
the time.
we're praying for the day he wears
the time.
blue.
No, it's not gonna happen.
Yellow.
No,
Waiting.
it's not gonna happen.
Navy.
I can show you a picture of me wearing color, but that's it. That's like a very rare thing.
He wears
okay,
colors in the
guys.
gym.
Yeah, but nobody
And
sees
colors in
me.
the gym is gray. Isn't it?
No, it's actually it's like that highlighter orange and stuff
Oh,
like
wow.
that. Yeah, bright colors.
From
Extreme to extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
but in the
don't
gym
know.
is different. In the gym is different. In the
Nobody
gym is
sees
like
him in there.
well, people don't recognize me in the gym. It's just like I go to the gym and work out, and it's just like I always like wearing bright colors in the gym.
crazy.
But
Interesting.
All right, so today's topic is do men think about marriage? And who better to ask
Than the
than
men themselves.
Go ahead, what have you guys take away? Do men think about marriage?
I know you had a lot to say.
Yeah.
I have a lot
come
to
on,
say. Yeah.
come on,
okay,
man.
well, he's still married. I'm not married anymore. But I do think about it. But I think it more in a sense of like, you know, I think of it like, okay, I'm with this person. I'm spending that time with that person. I'm growing with that person. That's the most important thing to me about it than just the wedding. And I know you're going to get to another question talking about like the wedding stuff, but yes, men do think about marriage. Some are scared. I'm not scared. I'm just right now in this point in my life, I have to heal from because like me and my wife are separated. But like if I were to do it again, eventually I will. But just like right now in this moment, that's not really a focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But did you think about it like before? Like, would you say before you got married to your wife, were you thinking about marriage like actively, or is that something that men think about when women bring that up?
No, well, I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for any other guy out there. I did thought about it frequently because like I was like, you know what, like yeah, I love to have a family, like you know, I would like to be married to somebody I can spend the rest of my life with. Those kind of things, and I still do think about those things. But like back then, I did think about it a lot. But I was more I was more thinking about it in a sense where it was kind of like the fairy tale thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like it's the ideal thing that you want, the family, the
yeah,
house.
like
The white picket fence.
No, I'm not a white picket fence person. No.
Sorry.
White.
Black.
He's a
The
black-
black,
No,
the black
no,
picket
black
fence?
picket fence.
No, it's not even a black. No,
There's no
no.
fence.
It's listen. My dream house is actually on like a 5-acre property.
Oh Lord.
And the house would actually be a palace. I would call it the Winter Palace. It'll be all white
Wow.
with white
He
walls.
thought it
He
through.
Yeah.
sketched it.
Yeah.
He sketched it.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
skip the whole
Scrapbook.
thing.
You got like a vision board.
Oh yeah, and then one part of the house is a
Wow.
palace, and then the other part of the property there's going to be a temple on the property.
Who is this guy?
Wow.
Kadeem, dude.
After all that.
Hey.
Should I answer? So yeah, I no, I thought about marriage a lot actually. I think, but like you do like until you get into the reality of it, you do think of it like, oh, it's gonna be like this. It's gonna be so cool, and this is gonna be so nice, and I'm gonna have this many kids, and then like the closer you get to the reality of it, the more you like, oh, economy, oh,
Yeah.
living situation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
compatibility, all these kind of
Yeah.
things.
Compatibility.
And
is
so
the most
it's
important
like-
thing,
Yeah.
You think about it, and like it doesn't matter like how mature of a man you are, even if you do think about the practical aspects of it. There's stuff that you don't think about because you're not in the reality, so you can't understand it. And then when you
always
get into
wanted
the
to
reality,
know what that means, because in terms of like readiness, I always ask myself like, what exactly makes a woman or a man ready?
For
because
marriage,
because what you're saying is like, you know, as much as you can get prepared, as mature as you can be, you'll never really be married. Like you really won't be ready
Until
for
you're
it
in
until
it.
you get
Until
into
you're actually
it.
in
you'll, you'll be ready for it if your standard of readiness means that you have your life set up exactly the way that somebody else had it set up. So if you think, oh, this person was ready when they got married, so I gotta do what they gotta do, then you'll be ready for their marriage when it's your time to marry their spouse.
Was it what?
Did you just take him what he said? Did you just take him what he said? He literally said, like, that's pretty deep what you actually said,
Yeah.
being ready for somebody, because you look at somebody else's marriage and you think, okay, like I would be ready for that situation, but not necessarily like your own. So could you really be ready for your own marriage?
You can like work as hard as you can. You can like have like a paid off house and like a career that you're deep into,
Yeah.
but you're never going to be ready to be with someone until you start being. It's like having kids.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Nobody. I don't care what anybody says. You're never ready to
Never
have
ready.
kids. It doesn't
Nobody
matter how many
actually
bibs you
teaches
have. You don't have enough
You don't
bibs.
have. Yeah, I'm in that dilemma right now.
You know, it's when you start to have the kid.
Yeah.
When the kid starts to be here, and you're like, okay, this is a person.
Yeah.
You gotta deal with them a certain way. It's the same thing as a marriage. It's
Let
another
me
person.
ask this though: do you believe that, like, okay, let's say I don't know, like at 23 to 25, whatever, you're living your life, you know, you're career focused or you're trying to discover who you are and whatever. Do you believe that once kind of the right person comes in, then men start to think about marriage? Like the average man. Do men start thinking about marriage once there's that special person that makes them think about that, or is on the general sense, do guys think about like I need to get career focused? They have like their own plan.
Like,
If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
like what does ready look
What
like
triggers
to
a
you
man
guys?
to be like
Yeah.
that triggers that like the wedding thought process, or what that could be? Is it the woman or is it the man himself that's already ready in his mind to be like, yes,
Like you already
I'm
know
now
what you're
actively
going for.
looking,
Yeah.
or I now am ready for a wife.
It really depends on the guy, honestly. Because like my brother, he's 23. He just got engaged a few weeks ago. But he's been thinking about a long time before he got with his girlfriend.
Okay.
But it's just like he was with this is his only girlfriend ever. So he hasn't dated
Wow.
anybody else. So they've been
Good for
through with
him.
high school, college together, all that stuff like that.
Sweetheart.
So they're like he already knew. They weren't adults yet, but how the way that they were coordinating things, they were just like, well, yeah, I think I see you as a life partner. Compared to me, I thought about it a little bit before, but I was like, I had to kind of date around a bit to kind of see like, okay, like, are you serious about marriage? What is your take on marriage? What's your thoughts about children, finance, all that? Because my perspective was all like, because of religious school and stuff like that, like you're taught so many things, so you have a certain like standard in looking at things. So when you're like trying to pick a partner, you're asking them certain things, and this is what I want as a partner, that kind of stuff like that. So for my case, I would say it kind of stumps the process, and especially if you're with somebody and that person's looking for marriage, but you don't know what you want. It kind of, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. So you have to be with like if you want marriage, you have to be around people who want the same thing per se, so that it just makes things a little bit more easier, so that when those questions do come up about compatibility, finance, children, your relationship with God, all that stuff like that, it makes it a much smoother process compared to like, for me, I was just like feeling it out just to test and see, but I didn't have so much of an idea of what was going to happen.
Wow. What about like, wedding craze, like looking at the wave of how people are doing their weddings now? Do you think that,
Wasted their damn time. So wasted their time, wasted their money.
Do you think that it takes away from the actual, like prepping for the actual marriage?
Yeah. Does it impact
It does. I worked in the industry as well. So I've been to a lot of Indian and Italian weddings. They have a lot of big and I also have been to a lot of big African weddings too.
Ooh,
yeah, oh yeah.
Damn.
And it's just like the amount of money that gets sunk in to the wedding. It's insane. Like for my wedding, when I got married, it was only $10,000. But we just had resources and knowing who can do this or do a favor for us, right?
Yeah.
But I'm working in like textiles and doing floral and all that stuff like that, and interior decorating of the whole stuff, and I'm just like, are you that meticulous that you have to have this particular type of material?
That's crazy.
Like so this one client had 600 guests to the reception.
Ooh.
So it was the
You knew all of them?
It's
Nobody
everybody.
knows anybody.
It's everybody in the coworker.
Everybody
Nobody
and their
knows.
mama.
It's
just at your
The
wedding.
baker's daughter, the
it's
postman's
literally-
son.
It's literally everyone in the coworker they hate, and I'm just like,
Yo,
God.
a girl
We're
crashed
crazy.
my wedding.
yeah,
Because I guess like she and her homegirls crash people's weddings.
yeah.
And she crashed my wedding, and then we met faces, and she's somebody that I work with.
Wow.
And then from there, she never came down to my floor again because the shame was too great.
She crashed your
Oh
wedding.
my
Yeah,
gosh.
And like, she was lucky at my wedding, happiest day in the world. I didn't
So you
have
didn't
the
really
time to
care at
ask
the
her,
time.
yo, how'd you get in here? I didn't have to
Did you ever
but it was
confront
like,
her?
no, she never I think she quit the job still. But she never came down to my floor. I never saw her again after that. But it was funny, yo. If you're watching this, you know who you are.
You know who you are.
But so back to like the whole wedding craze. Like a lot of people, they base it like they want to have the best memorable experience, which is
Yeah.
a great it's a great thing. Your
Yeah.
wedding day should be a great memorable experience, but you have to remember why you're there, right?
Yeah.
It's you and your spouse,
Yeah.
right? You got God, right? Because God is approving of the marriage, right? He's bringing the two of you together, two witnesses, and the person who officiates. Nobody else matters. Really and truly, like you have people who
And all
have
the
like
African parents get offended.
I know,
No,
but
you know
Like,
what?
hey,
The thing
what
about
do you
the
mean?
African
What
parents
do you
is
mean?
like, because like my wife is from Congo, right? And
Shout out
yeah,
Priska.
shout out everybody.
Whole
I'm not
nation.
gonna get too deep into it, but like it's like God bless you. I appreciate that you want people to celebrate with you and everything like that. But like, my wedding was like a down payment on a house.
Oh.
Yeah.
You understand what I
Extravaganza.
mean?
That's
And it's
it.
like I don't have a house.
Right.
this is
So I could have had a house.
That's
at this point in
profound.
time.
That's
deep.
real.
Yeah, that's
and,
real.
and this is the thing too. It's like if you don't have the budget for a grant, like to shell out that amount of money just for one day,
It's crazy.
right?
One day.
For one day, like me
12
doing
hours, not
those,
even.
that Italian wedding that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Okay, Italian weddings and Indian weddings and some African weddings, like the family puts money together. Like
Sometimes.
some have something called the
Sometimes.
something called the busa box, which
Yeah.
is like you put like money, money favors and stuff like that. Well, some cultures are like, all right, my relative is getting married. All of us as a family, we're putting money together and we're buying them a house.
Which culture is this one?
This is Indians, Arabs, and Italians. They do that.
Indians,
Italian,
Arabs,
right?
and Italians, come find me.
They do that a lot. And I've seen with a few Ghanaian and Nigerian as well.
Ghanaian, Nigerian, really?
Yes,
Really?
yes. They'll put
Wow.
like depending on like the wealth of the family, they'll put that money and they're like, okay, because our family is a tribe, we want them to thrive. Like we don't want them to think about debt. We want to throw them a nice wedding,
good.
and then we'll put most of the
Weird.
money will be allocated
Are
towards
these
a house,
families?
so that when they come back from their honeymoon, they have a place to live in and they don't have to
Wow.
worry about debt.
Wow.
But now with the whole wedding craze, it's just like I want to have it big like this.
We're going backwards.
Yeah, we're going backwards. Like you want to have Meghan Markle style wedding. I'm like no.
We should honestly celebrate those types of weddings like after we done did 25 years. Then we got something to actually celebrate. Then we can actually be like, yo, let's pop some shit. Like let's get a real, like let's have an extravaganza, not only because we're in the marriage, but because we've made it this far. You know what I mean? For you to not make it that far and to be at the beginning of your marriage and have nothing in your pocket.
But like
Yeah.
he said, like if people want to have a big wedding, if you want to have it, people want to have like that
Where's the
one day, the
desire
special
come
day,
from?
fine. But it's like priorities. I feel like for me,
Yeah.
I cannot put that much money in my wedding to go back and live at home. Like we'll live
Yeah.
in my parents' basement.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be able to do it. So I feel like because of social media and all that stuff, people just want to have this big wedding, but it's not really. At the end of the day, what are you doing
what do you
after?
say?
My wife, after we had been married for a few months, she said, you know, if we had done a destination wedding, it would have been blessed.
Yeah.
Because on a destination wedding,
You would not
whoever
gonna want
loves
to.
you, they come. You
Yeah,
spend
they come.
$2,000,
Yeah.
and then after that, whoever comes, that's who loves you.
Yeah.
And if they
It's-
couldn't
it's
come,
much
it
easier
doesn't even
that
mean
way.
they didn't love you. It means that they looked at the practicalities in their life,
Yeah.
and it wasn't practical to
Yeah.
come to your wedding in the Bahamas
Right.
or whatsoever.
Yeah.
And
And
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
You know what I
fine.
mean?
That's okay.
And for
Yeah.
the
They're weighing it
Congolese
out the
people
same way
too,
you
for
did.
example, like for people
That'd
like
be an
us,
insult for the
a lot-
Congolese people. If
No,
I be
they're
like,
not-
my
they're not
wedding,
having it.
my wedding is
Yeah.
in the Bahamas, they'll be like,
Like,
why?
why are you being selfish?
Why
Or
being
why-
selfish? Like, I can't
They're not
come.
having it.
Yeah. But a lot of like our burdens or like us having to have a big wedding, a lot of it is from family too,
Yeah.
because they have their friends and family.
Yeah.
Some woman I met
Ha.
when I was 2 years old that needs to be there,
Oh
that
my
make
God.
it bigger to
They're
where now you got to
introducing
dish out
people.
money.
And but this is
You
the
know?
problem though, and this is the thing with about these big weddings, is that the responsibility is placed on the bride and groom. The thing is,
Yeah.
the marriage itself, like the whole
Institution.
the whole like ceremony, ceremony is for the bride and groom. The wedding is for the family. But the thing is, the people that go to the wedding don't realize that you have to pay for that. It's a cultural thing. In any cultural, you have to pay for the wedding. At least pay for the meal.
Like someone came to my wedding, and
Yeah.
like when we were counting on the things, somebody came to my wedding
Yeah.
It's outing
and
everybody
they brought
today.
an envelope. They know who they are. They know who they are.
Yeah.
They brought an envelope, and me and my wife were sitting on the bed, opening the envelopes,
Yeah.
and we opened an envelope, and inside the envelope was a blue Canadian $5 bill.
That happened to me. Actually, we opened actually maybe a
Maybe it
couple
was the same person.
a couple of envelopes, and it was like one $5 bill, three $5 bill, and it's
That's
almost as if
trifling.
it's
Oh,
almost
a
as
couple of envelopes?
a couple of envelopes. I'm not saying all because we had like over like 250, but we had like at least 3 envelopes with one had a $5 bill, as if like you're like, oh, we're now gonna give offering. Oh well, let me see.
What I
What I
have.
have.
One of the things it was like $50 or something, but it was in that envelope that you get at the bank, that little brown.
Yeah,
Come on, we gotta go.
yeah. It's like I just need a $5 bill, just
Yeah.
in a brown envelope. I'm good to like.
No,
it's
not
so-
No, that's
simple.
rude.
If you take in that when I'm coming to a wedding, that yes, I want to bless these individuals, and I'm taking in that I'm taking up a seat,
Yeah.
I'm eating. Being mindful of that will inform your giving. Like I wouldn't what's
Yeah.
the $5 for? Tell
That's
me what
nothing.
you paid
That,
for.
like,
Oh, and then
that's-
they're too
that's-
ashamed to even put their name on it. They didn't buy a
No,
card.
you don't put your name
They
on
don't,
it.
we don't put
Yeah,
a
no,
$5
no.
gift.
You don't do that.
$5
But
gift.
this is the thing
That's
that
too
like
brave.
people don't understand. It's like, yeah, the wedding is if you're going to be actively part of the wedding, contribute, because
Yeah.
it's not on the bride and groom. And if you look at, even if we go biblical, if you look at weddings, they were all provided by the village, the family, the
Yeah,
community, all that
that's
stuff
true.
like that.
I don't know
Because they
where
were
those
like,
days went.
all right, we want to have a celebration to celebrate these two, but your ceremony is is
like people are having
yeah.
the celebration for you.
Yeah.
Like, it's your parents and the family and the village that are
Coming
having the
together.
celebration
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
But for some reason, people go, like even just wedding crashers, like
It's
they
a
go to
night
eat
out.
and consume.
It's just a
and
night
go.
out.
It's just a
Yeah.
night out to
Yeah.
link up. People will come, like at Lisa's wedding. Listen,
Bro.
I done stopped so many people. I was like, wait, hold up.
Who are you?
You're not on the list. You're definitely not on the list.
You have people that did not talk to me, that I don't
Did not
know,
congratulate you.
that like didn't know my husband. Like
People just came because they didn't want to miss out.
my thing is like you left your house,
Right.
we've done,
Makeup
Clothes.
on.
makeup did,
Yeah.
a new dress, new suit, you got a haircut to
Yeah.
come to someone's wedding that you didn't know, really. And
That-
and you ate and you danced.
Yeah.
And you, like you know what I mean? Like
You
you
left
left
last.
you left your
You
house
left
looking
last.
and you left last. Yeah.
Like you left last.
Like
For why?
But you know what that also has to do with, and like I don't know what word, but like some people, like a lot of people come because they need to show their outfit.
Yeah.
Like it
I'm
sounds
not with it.
stupid,
I'm
and it
not
sounds ridiculous, but
here
it's
People
for it.
took
because they need to show their
Lisa,
outfit.
people took selfies, like selfies.
people came to my wedding
Yeah.
and had photo shoots at my wedding. Who like people that I did not know
photo shoots.
came to have
You
photo
know, I
shoots
went-
Video
at
shoots.
my
Trust
wedding.
me.
at her wedding.
Yeah.
Video shoots.
So you know it's the
Like,
wedding because of the
You know
background.
who you are.
Background.
You go down on their Instagram. Like I
It
still
has that red background.
the red background. It has people doing slow
What
mos,
did you say?
slow
You
mos
guys
down
know.
the hall.
Oh my
I'm like-
You
god.
remember, you seen it.
We
so
literally
you've really
zoomed.
seen this on people's
Oh, no,
Instagram.
I've seen it.
I've actually seen
I've seen
somebody.
it where I'm like,
Yeah.
wasn't this my wedding? Wait,
Yeah.
that's
I know the
And I'm looking at
background.
the post. I'm like, that was my wedding day.
I'm telling you.
That's
I don't know
so
this
funny.
person. I don't know
Yeah.
like who invited them, but they were there.
And the caption's
And they're
gonna
not
be
even a
like
plus
the
one.
caption's gonna be something related to their outfit or something like that, and it's like
Yeah.
or they have the audacity, yo, latest wedding of 2018. I'm like,
But they don't
Who
shout out to
are
who got
you?
actually
who,
got
you,
married.
who got married? Do you happen to know their names?
no,
Nah,
honestly,
this
No,
wedding
but hold
craze
on.
has- it's gotten out of hand.
Another thing with the wedding craze though is that some people, you need to have a wedding with you need to have the capacity or the financial capacity to have the wedding of let me start that over again. The amount of guests that you have need to be reflected on like your pockets.
Your budget.
Yeah.
Like you can't have like $100 budget but inviting 500 people.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have this misconception where it's like, oh, it's okay, we're just gonna ball out and we're gonna get it all back. No, you're not.
No.
Because you're gonna end up getting those $5 bill
$5
people.
Oh.
Yep.
As
And
guests.
then when
the
you
brown
look at
envelope.
the cost of things, right?
Yeah.
So, linens, the cost of linens.
Things
If you're
about
getting
linens.
like, sometimes the hall provides it, but a lot of people will outsource it through
I'm
a
impressed with
decor
you. I
and
didn't think of none of this.
yeah,
I don't
I have
know.
I have my mom and 3 aunts and like
Who
all the
thinks of
linen and stuff.
linen?
Who
I didn't
thinks
like
of
what
that?
the things that you're saying right now. I was
Oh.
like, oh yeah, there was linens.
Oh yeah, there's linens.
Right, that's
There's the napkins, right? There's the charger plates, the floral.
The plates,
Right.
yeah, the things.
Then there's the
The plates that go
catering.
under the plates.
Yeah.
Then there's like, okay, there's a floral in the hall if you're like for the reception hall, the floral
Somebody
that's
hired.
in the church if you're doing it in the church.
Wow.
Then boutonnieres, like listen, I'll go all day about flowers,
I don't
but
know what
then
that is either, but
boutonnieres is basically the button up for the men's
for the
on the
men's.
lapel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
boutonnieres.
just saw that
napkin.
one
And
goes on
then-
your lapel.
And then like the ladies for the bouquet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then factor in dresses. So for my wedding, like the ladies wanted to buy their own dress.
How many bridesmaids were there?
There was 8.
But why?
damn.
How
But
much-
why?
But that's-
How much did you
But
have?
that's
How
What
many
did
did
you
you have?
I had
Uh-huh.
my brother,
Uh-huh.
my 2 cousins, which one of them passed now,
Oh, wow.
and my dude.
So you had
Was it
4.
equal?
I
Was it
wasn't
equal?
willing to. These are like
You had
people
4.
that I yeah.
yeah.
And so she had
4.
4.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
okay.
And like she's more like me and that kind of. And originally she was like, she wasn't even like, oh, I gotta have. One of my aunts had 14 bridesmaids,
No.
you know, and
No,
I haven't seen
okay.
any of them since.
You see
Wow.
the problem?
You
You
just know what I
see?
mean?
You see the problem?
Mm.
So my wife is a little more like me. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna choose like 4 girls that I'm close to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she
That's-
chose her
that's
sister and
it.
3 other girls.
Well, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a lot.
and another thing to talk about, I think we've mentioned this in one of our Wedding Craze episodes from season 1. Y'all go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Just why are it's almost like people aren't thinking of the why they're getting married,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
who they're getting
The
married,
preparation.
or
You
the
just- yeah.
forget even the preparation, but how about the preparation of your marriage?
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Like for like not the wedding day, that's a 1 day celebration,
Yeah.
but who you're marrying and what are you, like you're gonna be living with this person. Have you guys talked about finances? Do you know you really don't get to know somebody till you live with them. That's one thing.
That's true.
But like you need to work on your relationship. It doesn't stop because you're planning a wedding.
Exactly.
You don't plan the wedding for a whole year and then move in together and then decide to find out who this
they
person
are.
is, or stop getting to know them while you're planning the wedding process to try to get to know them, and then you'd be like, oh wait,
But that's what you just said there too, like, cause like if you plan one of those weddings and you're heavily involved in the planning, both you, your relationship will stop.
Yeah.
Until the wedding
Really?
is finished.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
You won't
literally-
unless
the
you
closer
change,
you get to it, like 2-3 weeks in, you haven't related, and then that's why you see people like a few nights before their wedding, they're like, either they're having a crisis or they just have to talk to their future spouse because it's like,
Well,
why are we doing this again? Nobody says why are we doing this again, and they don't even know that that's what the nervousness is about. On top of the nerve, like back here they have this thing like, what are we doing? Because you like have built this relationship up for like all these like months or years, and like now suddenly
You hit pause.
there's something that comes in, and it's like it's taking all of your energy and all of your strength and all of your resources, and it's about the relationship, but like it doesn't fit anywhere into the.
It's about
so
a
it's like,
day
why are we-
though.
It's about the day.
It's about
and,
the
like,
day.
Your brain
2
knows that.
years. You're saving up 2 years, 3 years. Some people 5 years. You're trifling. You're trifling. But like you're saving up for all this time, and all you guys are talking about is, colors,
Decors
invites,
and
and
Well, this is the
I got
thing.
this paid off, and I got this paid off. And I
I've
got this
advised
paid
like
off.
a lot of people that are now getting married and stuff like that. Like I get this question a lot actually. People are like, oh, how much did your wedding cost? Or like what how did you get this, or where did you get that? I'm like, listen, the first thing you need to worry about is you two. Right? Because don't be trying to, I'm not saying that by you asking me that question, you want to have a wedding like mine. That's not even what I'm thinking about. But don't look at what looked hyped or what looked extravagant and be like, yo, I want that.
Yeah.
You don't know what I've been through.
No, you don't.
You don't know, number one, like a lot of my things for real, for my wedding, are a blessing on how they came.
Oh, child.
Right?
Oh,
like if I told you,
That's
like,
a whole
yes, my
testimony on
budget
its
was
own.
redunculous.
Redundant.
Well, I was out of budget. That was one.
Out of budget.
But a lot of things also came literally, like people who I didn't even know, or people I haven't spoken like 10, 15 years, came out of nowhere and be like, you know what, just based on what I know of you, I'm giving you this much, or I'll take care of this, I'll take care of that. You don't look at somebody else's journey, or you don't look at somebody else's end result, right? And not know what their journey and process was, and then want that, right? Do the wedding for you to your capability, but don't do it to top up somebody else or to be like at the same social level, at the same level as everyone else.
Do what's for you. Stop copying people. Stop copying people's style. Stop trying to do the same trailer video. Stop trying, because everyone's getting married the same way. Just honestly, prepare for your wedding. Get the counseling that you need. Just get married for the right reasons.
Number one, you need to be ready to get married for yourself. And when you do, and you're going through the motions of, getting married and, the feels and whatever, don't forget who you're actually marrying.
Yeah.
Keep creating that relationship. Keep getting to know that person.
Pray.
Yeah,
man.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Don't wait to pray once you're in the home.
Or on the day of.
Or the day of. But, and also, not only get to know that person, but go through that process and do your wedding for you with the capability of what's in your pockets, and not with, what's happening with somebody else, and you have to top up. And I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts.
I'll save that for an after shoot or something like that. Part 2. You know what I mean? Because I can go all day.
You can go all day.
Spend as little money on this as possible.
This guy looks like he's been traumatized.
No, because it's just a waste of your stuff, guys. Spend as little. Buy a house.
Invest in your future first.
Do it in your living room.
Do it in your living room. Okay, Kadeem, let me ask you this very important question, okay? Or even the both of you.
Yeah.
What's, like, for men, what would be that turning point? Or, like, how would you advise a guy that might be thinking about marriage or is not thinking about marriage yet? Like, what would you tell him? Like, is that what
Something critical that they
something
should
critical.
know before they
Either
get
what's
married.
that pivotal point? What's something they should be looking out for? Should they be taking their time? Don't be caught up in something. Like, what's your advice for, I don't know, somebody that might think I'm ready to get married?
If you think you're ready to get married, my advice to you is find yourself around godly men who are already married, who have been already married. Learn from them. Grow. If you think you're ready to be married now, like today, then like for like 3-6 months, like invest in spending time around men like that who are already married, who can like, and like I'm talking about guys who like have been married for
20+ years.
I mean, like, even, like, guys who married, this guy's been married, like, 5 years, find yourself around him. A guy who's been married for, like, 10, 15 years, and a guy who's been married for 20+ years.
Surround yourself around people
Like-minded.
who, in a way, you would like to emulate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, even that.
And
but, like, yeah, just be around people who, like,
Like-minded
have
people.
something to offer you in the realm of wisdom from that perspective.
And it's not even just before you're married. After you're married, too, is also very crucial as well. Because, like, when you do get married, like, you will have single friends and stuff like that. But a lot of people, a lot of them, huh?
I said when they're borderline useless.
You're right.
Always
Borderline
useless.
useless.
It's not always useless. But it's like, but when you do get married, like, a lot of people will say, like, oh, yeah, because you're married, you kind of drop off. And, but you have to understand, though, it's like, we don't talk about certain things, and we can't talk about certain things anymore because I'm now with somebody else.
Right.
And a lot of people, and you can't offer someone advice on something that you don't know or haven't lived.
Exactly, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Some of us are special cases. I'm not saying, like, Michaela offers a lot of advice, but it's also based on what she's seen and what she's been around. But I'm saying, in general, you can't give something that you don't have.
Yeah.
Right? If you have no knowledge of
If
it,
it's
no
not
experience.
sound, if it's not wise, if it's not.
But there's a lot of that goes on in this day and age, and I'm just like, especially in the YouTube space, I see a lot of people who give advice about relationships and marriage, and I'm just like, where did you get your degree from? Because they're basing that one thing based off of their experience, and they're saying like, oh, don't do this, or if that person does this, it means this. I'm like, that's not always true. So to answer your question about what men should know. So one of them is to be around godly men that are married, but two is also, how are you by yourself?
Oh, wow.
That's a very important
I
key
think you might have just gone into a second episode.
Yeah. It's a very important thing, because the thing is, if you don't know what makes you happy by yourself, like especially as a man, you can't go into a marriage if you don't know how to lead. 1, 2, if you're not, you don't have a relationship with God. And I always say this to a lot of men, it's like, okay, in order for you to find yourself, find your purpose, you have to be connected to God. Once you're connected to God, God will show you who you are through Him, and then He will point you to where your purpose is. And when you follow Him, you can understand leadership, and then you can lead a family. But if you don't understand that, it don't make no sense. And then when you're by yourself, you understand what makes you happy. And like, there's times where, and I can speak for myself, there's times where me and my spouse were together so much, in the space so much, that we were basically repelling from each other. Wow. So you have to understand, like, you have to know who you are when you're with your spouse, and who you are by yourself. And you have to make sure that you are yourself, regardless if you're with them in that moment in time, and when you're not with them, that person doesn't change. So
to touch on like just something that you just said, like when I like met my spouse, I was like deeply immersed in like one of the most toxic environments I'd ever been in my life. But it was through that environment that I learned myself. So it was through that environment that I learned what God wants me to do with my life.
You were in a toxic environment before meeting your wife? Is
no, when I met her.
Oh, when you met her.
When I met her. And like when I say I was in a toxic environment, I'm talking about like, you know, no shade, but I'm talking about like the church that I was going to.
Oh,
I was going to a particular church or whatsoever, and like it was like very toxic. Even on the day that I met her, I was preaching, you know, but like I was in a but it was through that situation that God showed me what He wants me to do with my life, and it was through that situation that He revealed to me my temperament, the things that I absolutely love, the things that I absolutely hate, and then I met my wife.
Wow.
So I understood those things, and like, while like growing in our relationship, I was also able to grow and cultivate in like parts of myself that I really didn't understand at the time. So I like what you said.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's all there is.
There isn't anymore.
Thank you so much for watching, guys.